like yesterday we discussed about the field intensity, right, because of non-uniform charge distribution, uniform charge distribution, and continuous also, continuous and discontinuous charge distribution. Then we will move for the electric flux associated with the field, right. And what do you mean by flux? Unit area, but that area must be perpendicular to the direction of the field, otherwise you are wrong, right. The area must be perpendicular to the direction of field lines. So, in that respect, let us start from a point charge. So, suppose here there is a point charge here plus q, around it there will be field, and accordingly you are implying the field lines with direction, right. So, tell me, if I will represent in this way, like that in all directions, right. You mark the difference, what it basically indicates? Yes. What does it mean? But it is not in that direction all around that point, because it is positive charge, it goes outward, if negative comes inward, but in a similar way. Why these vectors are having different length when you go away from the point charge? Huh? Yes, right, because the vector is represented by both magnitude and direction, and it indicates that the field intensity is maximum near the charge, and when you go away it is reducing, right. So, the field strength or the electric field intensity is implied by these vectors whose length is more towards the charge and less away from the charge, but direction is as it is, right. Direction remains as it is, but when you go away from that point charge, its length is reduced because of the strength of the field. You know that when you go away, its strength is reduced, but when you come closer, it is more, because why it is more again? More number of field lines are gathered, right. At this point, here the more number of lines will be gathered in comparison to the other space, right. That is why the strength is more near the charge, but less when you go away from the charge, right. And in general, we are representing a field like this, if it is a point charge, simply by putting arrows in this way, right. But it has meaning, but not like this, right. It has also meaning, it is also implying the field and field strength of course, but not completely like here. Here it indicates both magnitude and direction of the intensity, but here only direction, right. So, in this way generally we are representing the field, electric fields around the charge, may it be discontinuous or continuous, uniform, non-uniform, does not matter, but like that field lines will be there around the charge. Then now the next question is, suppose this is due to a single charge, right, single point charge, but if you take 2, then what difference will be there? Here is plus q, and let us say here is minus q, and here is plus q, and again here is plus q. What will happen to the field lines? If it is single, all right, single point charge, but when there are 2, situation is different, field lines will never be like that, right. Then what will happen there?
There will be a vector addition of field lines.
Huh?
At each point there will be a vector addition of field lines.
Yes, of course, but obviously it tells that the field lines are never straight line except the shortest distance between the two charges, only that one is straight line, but here everything is straight line, right. In this case all are straight lines, the field is filled up by straight line field lines when it is single charge, but when it is 2 charges, it is never filled by like these straight lines, all are curvatures, field lines are curvatures except one, that joining the two charges, that is a straight line, right. And that again it starts from all the time from positive charge goes away and negative charge comes to that point, the property of the field lines that you know. Like if you take a negative charge, single negative charge, what happened? The direction is just opposite of that, right. So, if you take one positive and another negative, then think it will start just if you join this point, it will be only straight line, right. It starts from positive charge, ends in negative charge. But if you go to some other path, then it will be going like this, like this, like this, like this, and hence it goes in this way, like this, right. And direction is very important, put the direction, otherwise you will be wrong. I am putting for one, but for all it is, right. So, now the nature of the field when two charges is completely different than when there is single charge, right. But think about this, these are two dissimilar charges, positive, negative, but here there are similar charges, whether the nature will be similar or different. If different, then how it will look like. Here there is attraction, that is why they are going towards that, ends in negative, but here both are repulsive, right. Then nature and behavior must go in that way, right, like that, right. So, the directions are this, and similarly this side also, right. So, when two charges are similar, field is different, dissimilar, field is different, single again different. It may be positive, negative, does not matter, but nature is similar. If it is similar, field nature is similar, right. But when opposite, this either it starts from positive to negative, sorry, all the time it starts from positive to negative, but that depends where your positive charge is there, whether here or there. Yes.
Will there be a field line between both the positive charges?
Both the
Positive charges. Will there be a line, field line?
oh sorry, this is not there, right. This is not there. Only in case of opposite charge it will be there. That you know, because there is repulsion, so they will repel. So, in that direction there will not be any field line. Because if I leave here a positive unit charge, where it will go? Nothing. That is why there is no field line. But in case of opposite charge, straight line. So, these are the behaviors of the magnetic field, electric field when there is a single point charge, 2 point charges, whether they are having same charge or different charge, opposite charge, right. Now, you know, understand when you take two charges, what will happen to the field? When there is a single charge, what is your field? And hence the intensity, right, and hence the intensity, because intensity will obviously change. When field is changing, intensity has to change. Then now, if you think anyway, suppose now think about three charges, again complicated, 4 charges still complicated, group of charges very complicated, but field is there. You cannot deny there is no field, right. If you take one charge, there is field, 2 charge there is field, 3 charge there is field, like that 1000 charges also there is field, but the fields are very much complicated to show by field lines, right, and that field is also having the intensity, varies from point to point. So, intensity is the property of the field which varies from point to point in the space around the group or single or double charge, right. So, the property of the field is mainly controlled by the nature and quantity of charge around which you are getting the field. What is the nature of charge and what is the group of charge, whether they are similar or dissimilar, continuous or discontinuous, uniform or non-uniform, right. Everything is controlling the behavior of electric field around the charge which is at rest, because everything is electrostatics, charge must be at rest, right. So, then now the question comes, what about this flux? As per the definition, as I told yesterday, let this is an area, and if you take this elementary area is like this, whose area vector direction is in this direction a cap, right, unit vector, but for the whole area you have to integrate because it is continuous. If the distribution is continuous, of course, this area is continuous because you have to add all elementary areas, right. There is no discontinuity in that area. So, it can be replaced by integration of d A to get the whole area. Now, if these field lines are going in this direction like this, let this is the electric field and this is the area, then flux link with that area is how much? Because field is in this direction, orientation of the area is in some other direction, and hence the normal is obviously not same as that of the electric field, but flux is linking, right. Flux is linking with that area. So, when the orientation is changing, link is changing. Field is direction is same, but if you are changing the orientation, then accordingly the flux link will also change, right. Then how to calculate that? How much flux is linking at what orientation? You have to take the component of the area in the direction of electric field, right. So, that means here the direction is this one E, there is some angle theta, right. So, the normal to the area makes an angle theta with the direction of the field. If it is theta, then the flux link will be equal to how much? If I will take d phi, then it is E dot dA integrate to get the total flux, right. So, this d angle is associated here dot product, right. So, for a particular orientation the flux link is constant, right. If the orientation of the area is changing, then accordingly flux link will also change because theta will change, right. So, therefore, in general what we can tell, the flux phi is nothing but equal to integration over that area E dot dA, or it is E dA dA cos theta. Now, so for a particular orientation your this theta is constant, may be elementary area or whole area, does not matter, right. So, E and cos theta are constant, right. So, you have to integrate over only the area. Then ultimately it tells it is nothing but equal to E cos theta into sorry, this is not area vector, total area. If the total area here is A, right, then the flux link with that area at that orientation will be that much, right. Integration of dA is A, the whole area. Then now the flux link at that orientation of the area may depend is depending only on the factor theta, rest things are constant, right. This A is fixed, E is also fixed. So, if orientation will change, then flux link will change, right. So, the phi will be maximum when and minimum when. The flux link with that area will be maximum when theta will be 0, right. So, you can imagine where it will be maximum, when perpendicular, right. When perpendicular, then only theta will be 0, right. Yes, theta will be 0, cos theta will be maximum, and hence flux link will be maximum. And what is the flux link? E into A, right. Similarly, when theta is 90, it is minimum or not. That means, if field lines are going in this direction and the area is like that, then normal to the area is in this direction. So, angle will be 90, then no flux will link, and hence this will be 0, right. So, only with respect to the orientation of the area you are having maximum and minimum value, all rest are in between 0 to 90. If angle varies, flux link will vary, but these are the maximum and minimum limits. So, this is when theta equal to 0 and this is when theta equal to 90, right. And if you change any other angle, accordingly it will change. So, this tells about how the flux is linking with an area kept in a field, right. And you might have known about the Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction, right. What it basically tells? It relates to flux link or not? Yes, What is that?
Rate of change of flux produces a EMF.
The EMF is the rate of change of flux. But how that flux will change? If you keep the area fixed, it cannot change. That is why it has to rotate. To change the orientation of the area, it has to rotate, and it is rotating or moving anyway, either rotating, oscillating, vibrating, whatever it may be. There should be motion in order to change the orientation of the area, right. So, when there is a change of link of flux changing, then only there will be an induced EMF generated, otherwise not. To do that, we are taking different arrangements, whether we will go for rotational motion, oscillatory motion or straight line motion, right. But you have to change the flux linkage with that area. So, if it will change, definitely induced EMF will develop, right, and once stopped, automatically induced EMF will stop, right. So, it is permanent or temporary solution for EMF, temporary, condition that so long as the flux link is changing, otherwise no flux link, no induced EMF, right. Induced EMF will be there only when there is a change of flux, and hence there is rate of change of flux, and there will be an induced EMF. But when this change is not there, rate of change is not there, then induced EMF is also not there. That is why temporary, right. So, battery is a permanent source of EMF, but this is not a permanent source, temporary source, right. So, to get EMF like battery, you can do it, but that depends again how you are doing it, but cannot be permanent, right, cannot be permanent. You can generate EMF, no doubt, but it can never be permanent unless and until that condition is satisfied. Rate of change of flux must be there, otherwise there is no induced EMF generated in that area. Area means closed circuit, right. Area is the closed circuit, it may be circular, may be rectangular, any shape, but that should be closed. Then only there will be induced EMF, otherwise where is the induced EMF and how it will generate the current? There should be a path, right. So, if you take an area, let us say for example like this, and there are two terminals like this, and you are keeping the field in the field, this is E, and if you rotate it, then there will be induced EMF, right, and that induced EMF you are detecting with the help of a voltmeter here, if you connect, because circuit is complete, right. So, so long as there is rotation, till that time there will be EMF, but once the rotation stops, no EMF. That is why it is called as induced EMF. It is induced because of flux change linked with the area. That is why it is not permanent. Induced is never permanent. There should be some cause. Once the cause is stopped, everything is stopped. So, like that the flux change, if there, then some different situations are coming, like your Faraday's law tells the same thing, right. And once there is EMF, obviously that current will be there, and that current is again called as the induced current, not current, because of induced EMF, induced current, that is also not permanent, no EMF, no current, right. So, then now in general, how can you write that? Another thing, suppose for example, let us say there is a object, hollow object, right, it is not solid, hollow object, and the field lines are going, or field is going like this, then what you will get with linkage of flux with that kind of object? Could you follow me what this is? This is an hollow object, not solid. So, field lines, or this object is put in a field that is not in motion, right. So, whether there is flux linkage with that object or not. Flux will not link. How you know it is parallel? I never told it is parallel. It is a 3-dimensional object. It is a 3-dimensional object. It is not 2-dimensional, right? Then whether the flux will link with it or not, it will link and pass through that, goes to the other side, right. So, here it will come and escape like this, and similarly rest, right. And then now similarly, if you take two charges, sorry, for example, let us say here there is a charge, here there is a charge, that is why there is a field, right. Otherwise, there is no chance of field. If field charge is there, then only there is field and hence the intensity. But if this charge you are bringing here, let us say here are the charge inside, then the situation is different or similar. Here it is outside, right. But if you take that charge inside, then what will happen? Field is there, right. So, flux will be there, but of different behavior or similar behavior? Different behavior, obviously, right, because from here it will go in this direction, here it will go in this direction, here it will go in this direction, like that it will spread in space, right. These are all 3-dimensional objects. So, the behavior is definitely different when charge is inside and outside, right. And now, let us think this is a closed surface, here are two charges, one is positive, another is negative. Then what will happen? Will you follow me? Yeah, because equal and opposite. But if it is 2q, this is q, then not 0, right, because one is 2q, other is only q, although opposite, but never cancel out. But when they are equal, they will cancel out, flux will be 0. So, then when it is 2q, then what will happen here? It will go like this, right, these are there, right. Some will cancel, but not all, because of the magnitude of the charge here. So, in this side you will see that field lines are passing out, but not this side, right.
Can we effectively say that the flux is because of plus q only? Because
Obviously, you see when you are telling negative here, the field lines are inside, right. Then which is having maximum charge and hence field strength? 2q, that is positive. So, that it should go out in what direction? In this side only, not the other side, right. It will go only in this side, because here the magnitude of the charge is more in comparison to that. But so long as they are equal, no flux comes out, right. So, these are the different situations, you can understand how the flux linkage will be there with an 1-dimensional, 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional objects with respect to the charge. Again, when it may be uniformly, non-uniformly, continuously, discontinuously, whatever you may think over. Because if you take a here there is a linear charge distribution, it will be there, right. Inside that there is a continuous charge distribution, linear charge distribution, a piece of wire, right. Similarly, area, surface charge distribution, similarly volume charge distribution, all are having flux link with the object, but they are all different from each other, right. The flux link will be there, but all are different from each other depending on what kind of charge is there and how they are distributed, right. So, then now you tell how will you express what is your electric field intensity at a point in the field at a distance r, that you know 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0, then q divided by r square r cap, right. You know what is this r. Then similarly, now you tell how will you get the flux link when such kind of field is there, right. Field is there, you know the intensity, it depends on the distance r, right. Then if you take an area, then how the flux will link with this field? Can you write the formula? What will be the flux link with an area with respect to this field? How will you write? if I will take the point charge at the origin, what I can write at the origin? It is not at origin, right? Why I am telling, try to understand, this is not at origin, right? But when it is at origin, it is 1 by epsilon 0 q divided by this r is different from that r, right? When the point charge is at origin, this is position vector with respect to origin, that point, but this r is, what is this r? This r is nothing but equal to r prime, right. So, let us say think that the point charge is at origin, right, the point charge is at origin. Then how will you get the electric field through the, let us take a sphere, right, like this. Suppose it is x, y and z, and here is the sphere of radius, let us say r. So, here is the charge at the origin, plus, let us say flux will be there or not. How to estimate that? How much flux will link with the area of the sphere? Which coordinate you will use, Cartesian coordinate or spherical polar coordinate? Obviously, there is no other way out, right. Then how will you write that, how much flux will link? Or let us say you first find that is a closed surface, right. The point charge is within the closed surface, may be sphere, may not be sphere, but within the closed surface, right. It is within the closed surface. Then how will you integrate this? Obviously, you can tell it is E dot dA or not, integration of E dot dA over the whole surface that you have considered here, right. That depends on the symmetry, whether it is symmetric like sphere or non-symmetric, right. You can take a cylinder, you can take a sphere, you can take a plane, they are all symmetrical, but does not matter, it may be unsymmetrical also, right. Sphere is a symmetrical body, similarly cylinder, similarly plane, but that does not mean that all objects are symmetrical, but we are discussing about all kinds of objects, not necessarily with the sphere or cylinder or cone, right, but the charge is within the surface, right. Then how will you calculate the flux? Using this formula, right. Then how much it will be? It will be obviously the value of this E is how much? Yes, then q by r square r cap, then, right. Yes, sorry, this is r square, spherical polar coordinate relation, right. Yes, sorry, this is not theta, phi, phi, phi. So, this will give you ultimately that tells you, check it and it will give you only this much, the integration, right. That integration will give you a result of 1 by epsilon 0 times q, right. All other things are omitted, only this much will remain after integration, right. Do that mathematics, right. I am telling physics. So, ultimately the flux link with that kind of closed surface around the charge will be ultimately coming to be 1 by epsilon 0 times that charge enclosed within that surface, right, and that is the Gauss law, that is the Gauss law of electrostatics or not. But in which form now? In integral form, because you have integrating. So, the Gauss law in integral form you can write in this way, the flux link will be equal to this 1 by epsilon 0 times the amount of charge enclosed within that surface, because you have done the everything in terms of integration. That is why actually you have to write this one, it is better to understand this, you write this one, that is why it is integral form. Result is no doubt there is no integration differentiation, but the procedure that you followed is through integration, right. So, now you can write it in terms of differential form also, right. Law is same, may it be in integral form or differential form, they are all mathematics, but the law is same, right. Gauss law tells the flux link with an area, closed area is 1 by 4 epsilon 0 times the amount of charge enclosed within it, it never tells whether there is integration or differentiation. They are just two different forms, integral form and differential form. Otherwise, the result is ultimately this thing, this is the result. You may go for integral form or may differential form. Ultimately, you will get 1 by epsilon 0 times q, right. But what will you do for differentiation? How will you proceed? How will you proceed for the differentiation form? Any idea anybody have? Now, we are in integral form, basically we are dealing with what? Area, right. But think about volume, it has volume also or not? Closed area means it has volume. So, how to go from area to volume? Integration. There is a law called as Stokes law, that is there, I told you to read, right. That tells how can you convert the integration to a surface integration to volume integration, right. Then, so how can you write this form now? It is this E dot dA can be written as volume integration of gradient of that E times volume, that is the Stokes law that converts surface integration to volume integration. It involves gradient, sorry, divergence, not gradient, it is not gradient, divergence, right. Del dot E is divergence, not if you write del E then it is gradient, but you cannot write because E is a vector, gradient is all the time on a scalar. So, this is divergence of the field intensity over the whole volume, tau is the volume, right. So, this is nothing but a Stokes law that converts surface integration, this is surface, this is volume, right. So, if you go in this way now, what this del is a differential operator, right. So, differentiation will come, then now you tell how to proceed further, how will you get the result? Find out with this approach you proceed and tell what is the result of that differentiation formula.
Grad is in Cartesian, right? You have to convert it into radial coordinate.
Whatever you may do, that is mathematics, I do not bother about it, right, that you do yourself. I want physics. First tell me, can you do it for discontinuous charge distribution? Difficult for integration, right, but for continuous easy, right. Then now tell how can you write the quantity of charge which is spread continuously within a closed surface in terms of rho, volume charge density, right. So, how can you write dq? It is d tau or not, then find q, total charge, then now tell what is the q enclosed, total charge, right. This is total charge, ENC means enclosed, charge enclosed within the surface, how much it is? Obviously, it is nothing but the volume integration of rho and d tau, right or not. Then how much it will be? Only the question is how will you write this q, right, quantity of charge, that is you can tell this is same q enclosed, that is same charge enclosed within the surface, right, but how to write it in that form. So, you tell what is this q enclosed generally, what does it mean? Obviously, it is rho times tau, total volume or not. Then if I write here the value of q enclosed, then what will be your flux link? Nothing but equal to rho tau divided by epsilon 0 or not. Then now you tell how can you write the integration. So, it will be volume integration of del dot E over the volume, which is nothing but equal again volume integration this divided by d tau, am I right? Same volume integration now, both are over same volume, right, integration is also over same volume. So, now you think how will you write this, what will be the form now? Del dot E is nothing but equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times sigma or not, right, and this is the differential form of Gauss law or Gauss divergence theorem. So, ultimately what this quantity is telling you, this is how much, same thing or not, 1 by epsilon 0 times q enclosed, same thing as here, whatever you got it in integration, same thing you are getting also in differentiation. That is why it is called as the differential form. Ultimately, this tells you about the flux link, right. So, may you go in integration way or differentiation way, but ultimately the result is the same thing. The quantity of flux link with an enclosed surface is all the time equal to total charge, enclosed charge divided by epsilon 0 or 1 by epsilon 0 times enclosed charge. Of course, we have taken here continuous charge distribution, otherwise integration will be tough, right. So, that is called as the Gauss law or Gauss theorem, right. Gauss divergence theorem you can tell. Gauss divergence because the flux is diverging, right. That tells how much flux will come out or come in. If negative charge, in, if positive charge, out, but anyway there is divergence, there is no question of convergence, right. If you take the negative charge, then what will happen? Flux lines will come to meet at that point. How much flux? This will tell. Positive goes out, right. So, that is why it is called as the divergence theorem, right. So, now you let us say if you write it in vector form, then ultimately what you will get? How can you write that in vector form? You see, one thing I am telling, what is this? Scalar form or vector form? Just magnitude, scalar form, right. Flux is also scalar, right. Flux is also scalar, but if you want to write in vector form, then how can you write that? If I will write this del dot E vector is equal to how much? 1 by epsilon 0 times rho, then if I will write this, am I wrong or correct? Right hand side is also scalar. Density is a scalar quantity or vector quantity, but depends on the direction, that is why I have written, right. It is everywhere same, that is why it is density, right, but you can cover the whole space by that vector. R vector will tell you you are covering the whole space around it, that means density over the space is fixed, constant. So, scalar, right. The meaning of R vector is that. That does not mean that the right hand side is a vector. How the density will be a vector? Cannot be, right, but it tells something else, that tells that the density around the charge everywhere is equal, right. So, now tell me, if suppose for example, let us say there is a charge q and there is a sphere around it of radius r, how it will help now see. What is the application of this Gauss law? Why you are bothering about this law? There must be application, right. So, how easily you can estimate the electric field intensity, you can know now. If let us say this is a charge and here is a surface, right. So, let us say this radius is r. If I will ask you find out the intensity at this point on this surface, what will you do? Can you apply the Gauss law to find out or not? Can. If here point outside on the surface, okay, outside, yes, because considering that point you construct a sphere with different radius, apply the Gauss law, it is symmetric, you know the area of a sphere, find out how much it will be electric field intensity at this point which is outside. That this imaginary surface that you have considered here is the Gaussian surface, there only you are applying Gauss law, because that surface also encloses the same charge, right, that also encloses the same charge. So, you can apply the Gauss law, then how much will be the value? Obviously, it tells that the total value will be how much? Magnitude of the electric field times area is 4 pi r square, right, and that must be equal to how much? 1 by epsilon 0 times the charge enclosed, Gauss law tells that, right, but this r is that radius including that point, right. Then you can find out this E or not, you find out it is same thing. So, E will be equal to how much? 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 times q, yes, sorry 4 pi r square, right. If you find the force, same Coulomb's law, put there an units per charge, find out the Coulomb's law, it is same, right. So, that is the application of Gauss law in many ways. It is not, it is very simple when it is sphere or symmetric like that cylinder, right, or any closed surface. Now, you can do with the application of the closed law, just to imagine a Gaussian surface including that point where you want to find out. You see, for example, let us say the surface is like this, sorry, enclosure is like this, right. You are asked to find out the point here outside, does not matter, you just imagine a symmetric surface, Gaussian surface, right. Including that point, you just imagine a Gaussian surface, that will solve your problem, because Gauss law tells enclosed charge, right. It does not matter what shape it has, but when you are taking the Gaussian surface it must have symmetry, otherwise you cannot do that. Symmetry means either it is spherical or it is cylindrical or it is a plane. That depends on the situation, what kind of symmetry you will consider to apply the Gauss law, but you have to consider the symmetrical surfaces. This is not for group, I am telling you, continuous. It is also not for the group, right. If some charge is there and that way again they are continuously distributed, must have some density, otherwise how will you get the total charge enclosed? It is easy to calculate the total charge if it is continuously and uniformly distributed, right, total charge, but if it is discontinuous, very difficult to calculate, very tedious task to do, but you can do. Individual charge you find out, then add them all, but for such kind of problem it is very easy by using the Gauss law. It is a sphere, similarly you try for the plane and cylinder. How can you apply the Gauss law to find out the field, right? Field at a point due to the enclosed charge within a cylinder and on the surface of a plane, applying Gauss law, right. Just you have to imagine a Gaussian surface which is symmetric with respect to that charge distribution, that will solve the problem, right. So, do for these two, cylinder and plane, surface charge distribution, these two you try for a cylinder and a plane.